Houston has a special relationship to Mark Rothko, and I feel like I myself have a special relationship with him, although I never met the great man. I was a teenager growing up in Houston when the Rothko Chapel was being constructed in the late 1960s and opened in 1971. And I was fascinated by architecture and contemporary art at the time, and everything about the chapel construction was of interest to me. And I snuck onto the site. I wanted to know everything I could. And then I was simply awestruck when the chapel finally opened. And I immediately wanted to incorporate this chapel, this place, into my life. And I imagine having a wedding there. I imagine having a funeral there. It was, to me, a place of importance. Now, 40 years later, looking back, I can see that the opening of the Rothko Chapel was one of the most important developments in the history of Houston's cultural life.
From the simplest kind of measurement, there are 14 magnificent murals, paintings by Mark Rothko. Chapel was opened in 1971. We're about ready to celebrate our 45th anniversary and soon are working now on the 50th anniversary. One of the things that people might not see first when they come in, but it's the spirits of all the people that have ever come in this building. It's something hard to describe, but if you think about what was built here, this wasn't built as an art museum. This wasn't built as a Mark Rothko gallery. It was built as a sanctuary, a place of pilgrimage, a place for people to come, a place of life and activity. So when you come in here and you realize you're sitting or standing or kneeling or whatever you're doing in a place that has hosted Nelson Mandela, Rigoberta Menchú, Nobel Peace Laureate, and people unknown from all corners of the world that may be on a similar journey or something different. That's another thing you encounter when you take the time to really come in and be part of the fabric of the Rothko Chapel.
Houston, therefore, has the place to go to fully understand the entire experience the artist wanted. And whenever you come in and look at our Rothkos, I always think it's great to go to the chapel first and get that notion, because what Rothko didn't want was his work to be seen as decorative. He wanted it to be something that controlled space, that you sort of enter into the paintings, which is why he worked on such a large format.
There's so much of participatory and experiential contemporary art which can be found here in the Rothko exhibition. Well, the beauty of this exhibition is almost all the works, except for those from Houston Collections, the Menil, and our own Museum of Fine Arts Houston collection, come from Rothko's estate. When he died, his heirs, the Rothko Foundation, gave about half of his extant work that remained in his studio, 300 paintings and twice as many works on paper, to the National Gallery of Art. And they have been superb stewards of this collection. And unlike many of the Rothkos that one sees on the art market, these are in perfect condition, as well preserved as they could be given the frailty of the pigments and the canvases and the vicissitudes of time. And so many of our pictures in this exhibition have their original luminosity. And we can have any kind of emotion while we're in his thrall. We can be happy, we can be sad, we can be comforted and nurtured, we can be challenged and disturbed. And by setting up the environment for these experiences, he masterfully controlled the viewer's response. But like all great art, it isn't activated until the viewer is there to participate and to engage with this work of art and have a symbiotic relationship with it.